What I'm about to say is a hot take. There's really no way around that. But if you hear me out, let me explain myself. I actually think it's pretty reasonable what I'm about to say. It's nuanced and it's easy to take this the wrong way. I want to really explain exactly what I mean. There are times when non-native plants are a lifeline for native pollinators. It's rare. There's a lot to unpack here, but I saw a good example of this at my parents' house a week or so ago where they have a non-native shrub. I don't even know what this shrub is. I actually think the shrub is a cherry laurel, which is a common plant in the landscaping trade. It's native to Europe and Asia. It's not native to this continent, okay? Yet, a week or so ago, it was loaded with native pollinators. Dozens of different species, hundreds of flies and bees and wasps just all going to town on these flowers because there was nothing else in bloom around here. Now, the reason that there's nothing else in bloom around here is not because there's no native plants that could have been in bloom. It's because this habitat has been mismanaged by Europeans since we got here. The native plants are always going to be a better food source for the native pollinators. That's never not going to be the case. That's not what I'm trying to say. In this situation where there is nothing else around, this non-native plant is helping fill the need, fill the deficit. All of this stuff is not black and white. Now, absolutely, my personal beliefs, we still need to be doing invasive removal. We need to stop planting invasive plants. We need to focus on planting native as much as possible. I don't want to take away from any of that. I'm not recommending ever planting these invasive plant species, okay? All I'm trying to say is that there are times when non-native plants do put in some work and do good things for the local environment. There's a lot of native pollinators that are small, they can't travel very far, they're very heavily reliant on what is in the immediate vicinity. Now, it's been a few weeks, there are some other native plants nearby that have blooms out for these native pollinators, but a week or two ago when there was nothing, I'm glad that there was at least this cherry laurel for them to get some sort of nutrition from. This is really not ideal. It would be much more ideal if there was more native plants around, more diversity of native plants, so that something native could have been in bloom for these insects that were active at this time in the spring. That's the take, basically, is that we need to be planting more native plants for the pollinators, for all these other reasons why native plants are really beneficial, really important, and also really under threat, right? We need to be protecting and promoting these native species. But also, if we have a non-native species that's not invasive, that's not doing direct harm to the environment, but it is offering some bloom, some forage, that's a good thing too. Leave them in place, if they're not bothering anybody. Eventually, if you want, you can cut them down and plant something native in their place. But if they're not bothering anything, if they're not invasive and you've got plenty of other space for natives, just leave it. Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk or whatever. That's the basic take. Let me know what comments and questions you have. Like I said, I'm aware that this will probably be a hot take for some of you. It might start some controversy. It's how I feel in the moment. Everything can change as I gain more information and grow as a person, but that's how I feel right now.